Hey guys, it's Jamie Wozni here, and I'm so excited. I'm inviting you to my new experiment. I'm calling it the Joy Experiment. As many of you may have known or remembered, I did the Receiving Project a few years back, and we spent 30 days seeing if we opened our mind to receiving, and we couldn't say no to anything that came our way, what would happen. And we all experienced some really, really cool things, and it opened up that channel of receiving within us. So now I have been inspired to do the Joy Experiment. How this came to be and what is this experiment? So I was inspired by two things. About 6 months ago, I was feeling really sad and I was feeling really joyless. Now, a lot of my days, obviously, many of you might know me and I come across as a happy person, which I am most of the time. But I was focusing so much on work and not play that it was wearing on me, and I wasn't feeling good, and my body wasn't healing, and I was bummed. I felt like the days just kind of ran into the other. Now, many of us have this experience. We grew up and grow up in a society where we focus on work and not play. There were all these belief systems for me around being lazy if I was doing something joyful, like no one can know that I'm playing or taking a break or having fun because then I'm not working, and all your not good enough stuff comes up, right? That's crap. It's ego crap, malarkey. So don't believe any of that stuff. So I was crying, I was upset. I said to my boyfriend, this is what's going on with me, and he said, well, why don't you just make your focus joy? And so the next day, I was like, well, what would make me happy? What's fun? Because it was weird. I hadn't done that in a long time because I love my work. And so that's fun for me. But I was like, you got to be a human and play. So I got up the next day and I went and I looked at bikes. I looked at beach cruisers, and I was so happy and excited just getting out there with the energy of like, wow, I want to buy a beach cruiser and go around town, or, keep it for when I travel. And then I don't eat dairy, and I haven't had regular ice cream in years. So I went to this ice cream place and I got full-on dairy ice cream, and it was so good and so fun. And I sat out in the sun on this little stoop and pet this dog that was walking by, and it was two simple things, and I was so happy, and I felt so alive, and that life force energy had time to come through and heal me. And so, creation's a wonderful thing, work's a wonderful thing, but we're so out of balance in our society, and we could really use some more joy. So that was the first thing that inspired me. Second thing, I was listening to a video of Anita Morjani, and if you don't know her story, it's amazing. She has two books. One's called Dying to Be Me, one's called Heaven on Earth, or Living Heaven on Earth, or something like that. But she talks about her near-death experience as discovering and seeing that when she crossed over to the other side, it was like a warehouse, and all the lights had been turned on, and she saw all these unlimited possibilities around her. But when we're here on the earth plane, it's like the lights are turned off to all the unlimited possibilities, and we only have this one flashlight that can see the thing in front of us. So whatever we focus on, we see. Right? So if we're focusing on work, no play, it's just going to create more of that. And then if we're focusing on the sadness, it's going to create more of that. And then in my case, I have a lot of physical symptoms because I was healing from physical illness from a long time ago. Then I'm focusing on that because it was creating more sadness because I'm not focusing on joy, just work. And then that's creating more physical symptoms. And then I'm focusing on that. And innocently, it just creates this spiral. So it's not that we're doing something wrong or that we're broken. It's just the only thing is this innocent misunderstanding of we're putting our focus in the wrong place. We think we have to keep our focus on this thing, but we're free creative potential creatures that are God in a body. We're source energy creating from moment to moment as Jamie or as you. So I thought, well, how cool. She reminded me where we put our attention, that energy grows. So what if I created a joy experiment? And without needing to know what came through this intention, what if we just put our focus on joy? And what if daily we just opened up to, my mind has been wired for work or sickness or insecurity or lack or whatever it's wired for. But I surrender that to something greater than myself, and I ask that that part of me be healed. And I'm not trying to suppress that part or deny that part. Let that just play itself out over here. But I'm going to open up my focus to joy. And I don't want you to think this is a prescription and have the same thing come every single day and think, well, you know, every time I ride a bike it makes me happy, I'm going to do that. If it occurs to you in the present moment to ride the bike or go shopping for the bike, great. But that's the cool thing about the divine. We have to stay open and present to right here and see what comes through us in this moment. So daily, open up to joy. And I don't know, we're going to see what happens. I've created a Facebook group so we can share experiences. I'm going to keep posting videos on my Instagram page. So add me on Instagram. It's at Jamie Wozni, JamieWozni. And I'm going to post daily and remind us to just choose joy, choose joy. And I'm sure at first it might be sticky because we're not used to it. We don't think we're worthy of it. But none of that is even an issue. It's just a state of being that lives inside. So we can be joyful doing the dishes. We can be joyful drinking a cup of coffee. We can be joyful on our ride to work. It's a choice. It's a state of being. And then it can manifest into other things, like my intuition said, ride a bike and have ice cream. Now, am I going to have dairy ice cream every day? Probably not. But that day, my body was like, it's fine. It's no big deal. You haven't had it in years, and it's going to make you feel like a kid again. So it's opening up to this intuitive part of ourselves that guides us daily to creating more joy. And my sense is, because what happened with the receiving project is the more that we get the ball rolling and that snowball rolling down the hill and more snow picks up, the more our joy lens and our joy river will be rinsed clean and flowing in that direction. So it will allow the light of joy to just expand within us and I'm sure create miracles. So I don't know, I'm in this with you guys. That's what inspired me. Those are the rules. If you have any questions, reach out. It's very gray area. We're going to just try this together. So join me, stay in the loop, stay connected to me at Jamie Wozni, and I'm excited to see what this month brings. So happy day one, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.